virtual world still in the works? Okay, perfect, thanks, Glenn. I built in a little extra time today, so. Yeah, it's good. All right. Thank you, Glenn. All right, I so call this meeting to order of the EDA. All right, good morning, everybody. I just want to note that we have a quorum present. So first and foremost, thank you to everyone that's here. We appreciate you guys taking the time to be a part of this process. So we're going to start off with Jim Cantor to share his grant request. Oh, we have to do a roll call. Oh, got it. We can't just note it. My mistake. All right, roll call. I'm going to get used to this one day. All right, so do you have to call everyone or just down who's here?
I think just go over who's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roy Carter.
Here.
Taryn Bryce Rowland is present. Lisa McLaughlin.
Here.
Billy Barrett.
Here.
Awesome. All right. We have roll call. Jim, now it's time. I'm not used to formal meetings like this.
Hey,
Perfect.
yeah, just hold on a second. He's got to give me PC too. There we go.
Okay. Is the mic on? Okay.
Mhm.
All right, good morning. My name is Jim Cantor. My wife and I, Hebe Farage, started Windmills Water Sports this spring. And unfortunately, due to her work commitment, she couldn't be here this morning, but so you're stuck with me. So this morning, I wanted to give a quick presentation of kind of what our company is, what we're trying to do, and then explain what we're requesting the EDA grant money for. Put together a PowerPoint. Hopefully this works out. Feel free to ask any questions as we go.
Next slide.
Yep.
Just come.
All right, so the whole point of the company is to provide opportunities for everybody to enjoy the waterways of the Northern Neck, from the Rappahannock to Dameron Marsh. There's so many amazing, beautiful, and unique areas to visit, but to see them, you need to be on the water for a lot of these. So our company's goal is to provide quality, safe equipment to allow everybody the opportunity to do just that. Whether you're staying at the waterfront property or just have a few hours one evening, or anything in between, we've got you covered. Next slide.
Everything's a little slow.
Oh, a computer, okay. I thought it was me, we're good.
No.
Okay.
It's a computer.
Yep. So here we have, this is actually a clip from one of our brochures with our pricing and kind of what we offer. We offer quality equipment at an affordable price. We can rent from just a few hours to weekly rates. You can even rent a car topper pad if you want to rent a piece of equipment, take it with you to the beach for vacation or something. If you really want to witness something special, you can join us for a sunset paddle. If you're not comfortable going out by yourself, we're offering ego tours, where we'll take you out or a part of a small group of people. We can take a group of people out and paddle around, see the scenery, talk about some of the different working waterfronts, oysters, crabs, fishing, all that kind of stuff. So we can explain that to folks that maybe never got to experience that. If you bring the kids, you can have a great splash fish. So it's completely up to do once you're out there. Next slide. So this is a photograph of the inside of our shop. This is some of our equipment. We've got paddle boards, kayaks, paddles, all the safety gear to go along with that. We're located down at 842 Chesapeake Drive in Whitestone. We've got a variety of different equipment, everything from, next slide. My coordination ain't too good. Boards down in Chesapeake, Virginia. We've kind of partnered with them. The kayaks across the top are all from Feel Free. The good quality equipment. We've got tandems and singles for recreation. Our singles have a little jump seat in the front, so if you want to take a toddler or a dog with you, you can. The two kayaks on the right there are they're kind of geared toward fishing, fishing rod holders, things of that nature. And the one on the far right up in the top corner there is actually a little 8.5-foot boat for the youth size or very small adults. And that also has some fishing rod holders. So if you want to do a father-son weekend or something like that, father-daughter weekend, whatever the case may be, we have equipment for that. Next slide. So just a quick shot of some of the accessories we offer. Dry bags if you want to take lunch or a towel or stuff your sandals in or whatever while you're out on the water. Life jackets, of course. All of our equipment's brand new, so it's in really good shape. We also offer phone cases because a lot of folks want to be able to go out and paddle around, take pictures, and answer the phone if you need to. I'm a kayak fisherman, so these are the same type of phone cases I use, and some of the photos that are in this presentation are actually photos I've taken out on the water. Next slide. So we're looking to, it's slow today.
Yeah, it's slow.
Yep. So we're looking to promote the area. Virginia Water Trails is something that already exists and is out there. They've got multiple different trails on their website and through their organization that different places you can put in and paddle around, so I wanted to mention them here. We're also looking to promote the local marinas, boat ramps, county-owned public access points, and all of those different kind of things. So we've got, put a quick slide in here for our rough estimate to date of what we have invested in the company. It's roughly $17,000, a little bit more. Most of it's equipment, and then some startup costs with getting established in the state insurance and all that kind of stuff. Next slide. So the vision for the future.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's in the future. So we want to provide daily, multi-day, long-term rentals, delivery service, eco tours. That's kind of all of our lineup right now. Sunset tours, eventually working on kind of a guide license. Haven't quite figured that out yet. But if somebody wanted to just go out and, find a couple places to fish, we can take them out and show them different areas. We're looking to promote group trips for like Boy Scouts or Boys and Girls Club or a business group that might want to take their employees out for the day and just have a great day on the water. Eventually, we're hoping to open a retail location to kind of cater to all these outdoor water sports, but again, any type of outdoor recreation type stuff that you might do in this area. And as the business goes, we would love to be able to hire and train some staff. My wife and I are both full-time employees with other things, so this is quite challenging to get off the ground and get it running, but this is, we got to start somewhere, so here we are. Next. Okay, so what we are hoping to use the grant money for, if we are able to get some, so at our location at 842 Chesapeake Drive, we want to put a regular commercial sign up front there. And speaking with the gentleman we're renting from, he's actually willing to help us with some of those costs. So we're approximating about $1,500 there. We want to purchase a multi-vessel trailer so that I'll have the ability to take larger groups out at one time. Right now I work off of my pickup truck with ladder racks, so I can haul 4 or 5 boats pretty easily. But to be able to take a large group out, I really need the larger trailer to be able to do that, and then also to make bigger deliveries and things of that nature. Advertising and marketing, which I think is going to be very, very important to this business being able to be successful. We'd like to put a large chunk of money toward that, and then anything that might be left over for additional equipment. I have some hopes and dreams of having the ability to buy some really high-end pedal style kayaks that are kind of geared toward fishing, people with shoulder injuries that just want to go out and get on the water but can't paddle. So we're hoping to eventually move into that line of equipment as well. Next slide. So thank you for
It's
this
coming.
slide.
At least I think it's coming. There it's coming.
Okay. It's all part of that future stuff.
Yeah. I I got the little circle thing, so I know it's coming.
Well, it's the last slide anyway. It basically just says, thank you for your time and consideration. And considering Windmill Water Sports for this great opportunity, come paddle with us.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. That was a great presentation, Jim. Very thorough. We want to start with, we'll just kind of go down the line this time and ask questions. So we'll start with Roy. Did you have any questions?
Yeah, are you renting the building that's right across from the church and the boat club?
Yeah, across from Rappahannock Records.
The whole,
yeah.
the whole building, or
No, we
just
just
the
have a
back?
small shop in the back with the garage door.
Because I've seen the sign out front, so that's your base of operation,
Right
really.
now, that's our base of operations. We've been talking to the owner, you know, if we can evolve into a retail, he's very interested in letting us put a retail store in front of that building, so we're just kind of working our way through this stuff.
Good. Well, I know the county is promoting water access, and we're trying to get more places to put in for the public and everything. I think this is a great opportunity for you. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, so currently you're starting off with a location in Whitestone. Are you interested in being in different parts of the county, or are you looking at just starting with the trailer to move to deliver as necessary?
We're really trying to fill it out and see what's gonna work best. I mean, ideally, we'd love to have a waterfront location where people could just come out, rent, and go paddle around and bring it back, but that's a little more costly
Sure.
as well as difficult to obtain sometimes.
Sure.
So we're starting off with this. So right now, we're kind of a mobile shop. I can bring everything to wherever I need to. It also gives us the ability to go different places like Dameron Marsh or Dragon Run or some different places like that where you could take the equipment, meet a group, go out, paddle, come back, things of that nature. So open to either, but right now that's where we set up shop.
Got it. So I noticed you mentioned the Virginia's river, or excuse me, the water
Water
trails,
trails,
not
yeah.
river realm. Have you already started working with, like, building a relationship with the folks over there, or you're just looking to take advantage of it?
Very initially, yes. I've been giving out their brochures at pretty much every rental, especially if it's somebody that's new to the area that are looking for places to go, because it does have, their website's really good for access points and things of that nature. So we're slowly building that relationship, yeah.
Fantastic. I have a contact there, so
Okay.
I will try to connect you guys.
Good.
All right, I've just had a moment where everything has left my head, so I'm gonna go to Lisa. Did you have any questions?
So I love the concept. I think you have a really good basis here, and actually you answered all of my questions that I drafted before we came in today.
Okay.
So if you eventually had a retail store, you'd have employees, you mentioned hiring down the road, and then that would staff that, and then also employees who would drop paddle boards off or whatever the item was.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for, yeah. This is primarily a Memorial Weekend, a Labor Day weekend kind of a business, maybe a little bit on the fringes. But,
Right.
you know, there's opportunities for like school teachers that are off work for the summer and things of that nature. So definitely, I can't work a full-time job and man a shop and so we're definitely looking at increasing staff and then, of course, training them too. So.
And how many employees do you anticipate that could?
It could be anywhere from 2 or 3 for the shop, and then guides to take folks out. That could be any number of people because depending on people's availability and things. Talking to some of the shops in Virginia Beach, I think his surf guides, I think they employ somewhere around 35 or 40 a year. So that way they can just keep rotating in and out and, you know, based on availability. So I don't know if we'll get that big, but hey, why not dream?
Aim high. My other question was, in terms of marketing, have you considered partnering with like the Airbnbs in the area? Maybe having flyers or pamphlets?
We've spoken with one Airbnb owner. My wife met with them, had a conversation, still trying to work out some of the details there because I guess they have some add-on services and things they can do with their Airbnbs. So we are looking at doing some of that. We've talked to some of the different hotel or inn operators, so yeah, we're slowly starting to try to build those relationships.
That's great. Okay.
I have a question for Don real fast. Is the Airbnb registry public?
Yes, it's public.
Okay, I guess everything has to be public. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if it was readily available.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it's 52, and my new director of planning and land use is currently updating that list, and right now there's 52 located within the county of Lancaster,
Okay, fantastic.
outside of the towns. But I will tell you that the Board of Supervisors, it seems regular now, are getting complaints at board meetings about parties and disruptions of the neighborhood and things like that with short-term rentals. So there may be some tweaks of the ordinance
Gotcha.
coming along.
Okay, good to know. All right, Billy, did you have any questions?
It's a great concept. I like it. Thank you for bringing it to Lancaster County. I think it's wonderful. You answered a lot of questions just from Lisa's question about your hours. And that was my concern is you're trying to work. I know the feeling. Sometimes we try to juggle, in life. Any thought of maybe using a kiosk or something of that nature? Maybe at some of the other public landings on both ends of the county, such as maybe Belle Isle. I know Belle Isle already has some access, but maybe down Greenville Creek.
We've looked at some of those. I know there's one or two that are popping up in the county now, some kiosk type things that, I love the concept. They're not cheap to get them or get that franchise going. So there's a large monetary investment. The other thing I like about doing it the way we are is when our equipment comes in, we're cleaning everything. It's not
Exactly.
being stored out in the sun, it's stored inside a building. So I feel like we've got a better way to take care of the equipment. And it's also, I think, maybe a little more, how do I say this? A little better quality of equipment. So it's not just inexpensive stuff that's on a rack all day and anybody can come in there, especially with COVID and everything else. So
Sure.
we bring the equipment in, clean it, have it ready to go for the next person. So not opposed to it, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Understood.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, I mean, you just had such a thorough presentation. There aren't
Okay.
too many questions to ask. All right, we end up discussing how we're gonna vote in a closed session, so we're
Okay.
good for now. You're welcome to stay and watch the rest of the meeting though, if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, up next, we have Tony Luminog with Teal Marine Services.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, my name is Tony. I own and operate Teal Marine Services. I was a full-time service technician at a marina out in Deltaville. And found a little bit of a niche in what I was doing, which is electronics. What I know about a lot of the marinas in the area, not only in Deltaville, Gloucester, but in this area as well, their technicians generally have a broad spectrum of the different aspects of the marine industry. So they do a little bit in the motors, they do a little bit of in the bright work, the bottom work, fiberglass, and then you'll have some guys that have a little bit more experience in the specific aspects. So you might have a guy that mainly does motors, but they don't have enough work for motors all day, so they'll move to other things that the marina needs. So I was the same way, except I just specialized more in the electronics area. Particularly in Deltaville, we had one guy that did just electronics, and anytime I ever heard anything about him is nobody could get a hold of him, he didn't return calls, and basically that business ended up going out, and I found that a lot of people were still looking for that specific need of electronics because it's a tough industry. There's a lot of training that's involved, and it evolves as well. Just the industry 2 years ago when I really delved deep specifically into just the networking aspect. Today, it's almost completely different from the different technology that they have now. So figuring out what's available, which is kind of a big deal going on with COVID and issue with a lot of products being available. So availability is a big issue, and then finding out what technology is compatible with others is a very difficult thing to do. So I've been able to network with a lot of different marinas. The one I used to work for, one down in Gloucester, and then one up here in Irvington, Custom Yacht Services. So I'll actually get calls from operators of these marinas for very specific issues, installs, and things like that. Your general installers or technical guys at marinas just aren't trained or have the experience of dealing with. So I'm completely mobile. I operate the business side out of my garage and have a kind of a storeroom full of things and things I can take on and off the truck. And I think a little bit of the edge I have over the marinas that are stationary is the fact that I am mobile. I've seen the way marinas, when they do go to two boats, they'll often charge for the guy setting up taking all his tools, putting it in an independent vehicle, the time driving up, the time driving back. He's got to do his time sheet and then take all the tools out. So my truck's set up, ready to go. It's specific for the business. Everything that I need should be in there except for specific parts that I'll order for that job. I don't charge until I get to the job, and then when I leave, I stop charging. So there's a little bit of an edge on the marinas in that aspect, but also in just the specific training that I receive, direct from manufacturers like Garmin, Ray Marine, and Navico. Also industry-wide training, such as NEMA, which is the National Marine Electronics Association training, and ABYC, American Boat Yacht Council training, and keep up to date with all of those things. So along with the training, the specific manufacturer training, keeping up to date, we have that little bit of a competitive edge in just knowledge and expertise dealing with these type of things in and out, and making sure everything is safe and available for each individual customer. Our biggest thing is keeping boating fun. It's a luxury thing. It's something that people want to go out and do and enjoy. This area is nothing but water with the waterways coming through. And a lot of people aren't taking advantage of that. And what I'm finding is a lot of my customers are trailer boat customers. So I'm able to bring their boats to my shop and work there or come to them either way, which is a really nice thing to do, especially with the waterways that we have here. So my biggest issue right now is basically finding talent. Working by myself as of right now, I found one or two guys that can help me out a day or two a week, which has been pretty advantageous. It's been great. But the biggest issue is finding people to be able to support different projects. It's challenging. So I'm finding different people in different areas that are able to help out a day or two a week. People's schedules and different things going on. 2 to 3 people have regularly been able to employ just part-time. And what I'd like to get to the point is finding someone who can actually take a lead role, have built up a good knowledge base, take all the training and everything that I have in the industries and the industry standards, as well as the manufacturer standards as well. And that way they could take kind of a lead technical role, have their own truck, have their own helper, and kind of broaden the areas that we're able to assist folks with their boating needs in. So along with that comes expenses, not only training, transportation is probably the largest expense, and then just tools and things like that you have to outfit a truck on. Most of my tools and things I've had just because I was in the marine industry for 8 years. So I literally took my $25,000 toolbox and was able to outfit it in the back of my van. And then on top of that, there's a lot of specific equipment that is needed still, but I had to purchase and kind of outfit it for exactly what I do. So those are the largest expenses is transportation and technical equipment, testing and things like that. As of right now, I've invested about, I think at the beginning of the year it was about $40,000. It's probably up to about 60 at this point. And literally tomorrow I could go out and spend another 80 easily. Half of that being the vehicle and the other half just being other technical equipment that's quite pricey. Each industry has its own troubleshooting equipment. For instance, Airmar, which makes most of all broad variety of transducers for finding depth fish, things like that. They have a package that costs around $4,000 for installing and certifying their equipment. I don't currently have that. Something like that would just be nice to have. Just one example of the things I would use the EDA grant money for. Our outlook for the future is just expanding, kind of honing in an area. About a third of my business comes from Whitestone, Irvington area. Third comes from Gloucester, and the other third from the Middlesex area. Up until about the beginning of this year, I pretty much took any job going as far as up to Heathville and far as down as Williamsburg. And I've kind of cut Williamsburg and Yorktown out, cut Heathville out. So I'm honing in on the top of like Whitestone, Irvington, Middlesex off to the coast side, and then the northern part of Gloucester. So that's kind of what we're about. Looking for, you know, a little bit more part-time work, other folks that are willing to kind of get into this industry and kind of stick with it, and hopefully keep boating fun for a lot of different folks and help ease the gap in electronics for a lot of the marinas in the area.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Tony. I'm going to start with Roy. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. My nephew's in the same business in St. Petersburg, and I don't know how you have time to even come here, because I know you've got to be incredibly busy, which is a good thing. You said you plan to have some part-time employees. Are they independent contractors?
Currently, yeah, I just let them do their own taxes and give them a wrap-up sheet they need.
And I just reviewed your request, and you're looking mainly for truck and some equipment.
That's correct, yeah.
What are you using now for your truck? Do you have?
Currently, I purchased a used van. It's a Ram ProMaster. It was an impulse purchase just because I absolutely needed a van instead of a truck with a topper.
Sure.
After jumping out of a truck one day and gashing my head, I decided at that moment, right now was the time.
So where are you located? Where do you live? I mean, you live
out of
here?
Gloucester.
Out of Gloucester. So you've got about 40 minutes to Whitestone or so.
Yep.
So, but you don't charge for your time going to and from a job?
Yes and no. So my first hour of labor is about $120 and then 80 after that. So that 40 kind of covers the fuel and the time getting out.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I know your business is needed by a lot of people. Now, if, just suppose someone had come into the Tides Inn and they're only going to be tied up for 3 days or so. Are you able to get to somebody like that if they call and you only have a 3-day window, or are you just too backed up to?
Sometimes. So I try to keep a somewhat loose schedule. So the way I'll schedule jobs, I'll usually leave about a half a day in between each jobs for 2 reasons. The first is because it's a boat and boat stuff happens. So I'll expect to spend, 4 hours on a job, and sometimes I'll be there for 2 or 3 days. Sometimes I'll be there for 2 or 3 hours. So it kind of evens itself out. And the second reason is because of the situations, exactly what you're talking about. We'll have a lot of transient customers come into the marinas, and that's the exact case. They need somebody to look at their chart plotter, their fish finders in and out, something like that, and they just need somebody to be able to jump on the boat. And having that little bit of leeway of time, I'm able to leave jobs and come back, and especially if they're scheduled in the same area. So in this area, I'm out here about 2 days a week, Gloucester about 2 days a week, Middlesex about 2 days a week. So sometimes I can jumble it around. I found out very quickly you had to be flexible in this industry to really make it and keep people happy.
Yeah. Good, thank you.
Perfect. So within a year, how many employees would you say is your goal in terms of, would any of them be full-time? And can you give that breakdown?
I would like to have a full-time person. The reality of that, though, is pretty slim, just because first you have to find the right person that actually knows boats. It's not going to be somebody who's just going to jump on and used to do, construction or something like that. Preferably it's somebody out of one of the marinas that's familiar with the layout of a boat, what the breaker panels look like, and what not to do to burn the boat down. So ideally it's someone like that. The issue with that is the marinas are just dying for labor right now. The industry's it suffered, back in the early 2000s with the recession. A lot of the workers went to factory styles, Cannon, things like that. And then when the boating industry started to come back around, a lot of those workers stayed away. They were already into another career, so there was no point in coming back to the marine industry. So recovering from that, and then COVID's bringing in a massive flow of new boaters. It's tough to find that labor. So I have a couple of prospective people in the works. Two of those are ones that kind of work part-time and are figuring their schedules out. So the idea is to maybe grab one of them, and then after about a year, have them actually be a full-time person and work with me every single day. So they kind of gain that same aspect or experience that I have on the different boats. And just dealing with power versus sail can be its own interesting deal when it comes to electronics. So having somebody get up to speed on the variety of different things that I come across and would be ideal. And then setting up a second truck, helpers for both of us.
Sure.
But yeah, so by the end of this year, I'm hoping to have a secretary and then one full-time
Gotcha.
person. Yeah.
Have you considered reaching out to any of the VOTEC centers for maybe looking at apprenticeship or any kind of creating a pipeline for help?
Yeah, I've reached out to a couple of different marinas, and that's how I found out that it's the labor is just, it's rough right now. But what I have done is there's a couple of Facebook technical forums and things like that where I'll get on and just kind of network a little bit, just seeing where people are at. I know personally, when a technician's ready to leave a marina, it generally happens pretty quick. They get snatched up very, very fast. So just kind of being in the know, so to speak, and aware of what different people's situations are is I think going to be the most helpful thing in my corner as far as finding somebody at the right time.
Now, what is the business model in terms of, it sounds like it's some sort of joint partnership between the marinas with their existing employees and then your business as well. So is there some sort of shared revenue model, or what is your business model in that term?
Yeah, so obviously everybody has to make money, and you know it's the owner aspect and taking on liability of having someone else come onto a boat. It's up there. So keeping up with insurance and all that kind of good stuff. So basically what I've done is come up with a way of just a commission-based revenue for whoever helps me out. So if they're a helper, basically I'll give them $25 per a billable hour. And then if they're riding along with me, you know, the first rate's 140, I'll just give them or 120. I'll give them half of that to kind of recoup their losses, and especially driving out a little bit further up. The two guys that help me the most live in Middlesex, so they're like in a midpoint between the two counties. That's pretty helpful. Okay. And then for every hour after that, it just depends on their skill on what we're doing. So one of them I give 30 an hour for every billable hour, when I get 40 for every billable hour. And that way I still make money off the job, off of their labor, and it makes them worthwhile coming out for their time as well.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right, Lisa?
I think you asked my question about labor, so I love the concept. I think it's a great niche in this area, and we're seeing a lot of water-based businesses popping up, which is really an asset here, so I support it. I think it's great.
Awesome.
I don't have any questions for you, though. Thank you.
I guess I'll just reiterate Ms. Rowland's question to you about using VOTEC. I found that, you know, through VOTEC, a lot of young people learn a lot of skill sets. And I think, you know, with the regional VOTEC we have here that's multi-county in Richmond County, might just be an opportunity for you to train someone that may stick, you know, in the area and work towards your goals of boating and safe boating and instruments and so on. So I feel like, you know, maybe you might be missing, you know, some good young people that may be able to train and help stay in our area. So.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that.
Yeah.
Not only that, I do have a journeyman's license in marine technical work too. So I love teaching people. That was one of my jobs at the marina is I taught forklift, travel lift, and your general entry boaters, basically technical work to the newer employees. So maybe helping out and teaching at that vocational school might be something I'd be interested in as well. Usually it's an evening thing, from what I understand. But that's also something I'd definitely look into.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Of course. I have to tell you, I'm very excited because I do know of someone that might need help with a transducer. So it's good to know that exists. So I think that's all the questions we have for you. We'll let you know after the meeting how the vote turns out.
Awesome, yeah, thank you for your time and your consideration too.
Thank you so much. All right, up next we have Miss Ann Paparella.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I need a microphone. Thank you for entertaining our grant request. So we are partnering with Chesapeake Bank in their Shop Local Boost program. They unrolled a very successful program last year, 2021, in all their markets, and every market did a little bit differently. We had a little campaign that we did. Williamsburg had a campaign. Other markets. So the one that was most successful was Williamsburg, and they ultimately infused $50,000 into the local economy through a gift card promotion. So they worked with their EDA, they worked with the chamber, they worked with the local radio station, and they created this event where they sold gift cards for $25 that were worth $50. So it was supplemented by the EDA, the chamber, and the bank, obviously. So they came to us and said, we'd like to do this in our, this model works so well in Williamsburg, we want to unroll it in the Lancaster County area. And we all know shopping local is a huge initiative. It's a huge mission for the chamber to support our local businesses. So we are asking the local EDA to support this program with a $5,000 grant for 200 gift cards. The Chesapeake Bank is committing $5,000, the Lancaster by the Bay Chamber is committing $2,500, the town of Kilmarnock is committing $5,000, and we are working with Whitestone and Irvington on their contribution, and we are hoping that they will also contribute, because ultimately this is going to infuse money to this whole economy. And it's during the holiday season. I'm trying to think what I've missed, Paula. So we are super excited about the idea of the business. We presented to our board 2 months ago. The board had some questions about how do you make sure that it stays in the local economy. And it's kind of a trust system. We say it's branded with Chesapeake Bank on it. They're obviously Visa gift cards, which could be used anywhere, but the whole initiative is buy these cards, spend them locally, support our local businesses.
Oh, short to the point.
Did I miss anything? You Paul might know. So this is Paul Milstead, so if she.
I know. The chamber applied for the grant request, but we're helping set up the program. So we have the buckstayshere.com, which is a local listing, a listing of locally owned and operated businesses. So when we sell the gift cards, we're going to drive people to that website, and it's totally free for any business to put a listing on that site. It has their map location, their services, some pictures, contact information, and all of that stuff. And it allows those businesses that don't have a website presence to have a website presence, basically. And so we're driving them there, and then another part of this upcoming promotion is we're going to offer to the businesses to put together, some sort of enticing thing to attract people to their businesses if they bring in that gift card. So that will further encourage folks to use that gift card locally. And then, as we found in Williamsburg, only 9% of the cards were used online. Of the cards that were used, there were still some, how you put the gift card in your purse and you forget about it for about a year. There were still some that weren't used, but of that, the rest of them were used mainly locally. And so we do have the ability to track that after the fact to make sure that this program is working as intended. So.
Okay, I'll also say that we worked very closely with the local radio station, Two Rivers Communication, and we will do pop-ups as Williamsburg did in the 3 local towns, Kilmarnock, Whitestone, and Irvington, which is where we'll sell the gift cards. And it'll be first, I think we'll have a certain amount in each place, depending on what the dollar amount we have, to sell, and people will be first come, first served. Once they're gone, and I think it's gonna command a lot of interest because it's a great deal. You
Yeah.
buy a $25 gift card and it's worth $50 to shop local. And it's going to be advertised locally. We're gonna advertise on the local radio and through Chesapeake Bank. So it's going to be a very local promotion. I'm trying to think what other, so yes, like I said, we'll have 3 pop-up stations. It will all be done through the months of October, November, December. So it's a very, small frame of time where we really hope to just really infuse a lot of money into the economy when it's traditionally not the busiest time for our area.
All right.
The highlights. Sorry, I was like, oh, presentation. We did come before you guys the last session, so I'm sorry I wasn't entirely prepared to give a presentation, but I said, here's the notes, we got those. Any questions?
Okay, well, Paula and Ann, thank you for coming and explaining. When I was reading the application, these are Visa cards, correct? And are they branded through Chesapeake Bank?
They are branded with Chesapeake Bank.
Okay, great, because I applaud Chesapeake for everything they've done for Shop Local. I see the big billboards and everything else. Did I read, because I read this application a while back, was it like 62% or something were used, and then I guess that was before Christmas, but something like 92% were local, or and the other 7% was on, or 8% was online.
Correct.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I guess people still have some of that residual to use, and hopefully they'll spend it locally. Yeah, I think it's a great program. Thank you.
It is easy to track because it is hard, so
Okay.
we can really, and I think the Chamber's concern was that too, and we said, well, we'll find out. We want it, we'll do anything to infuse money into the local businesses, and there is a very measurable way to find out if it did go to local businesses, which we really like.
So have you all been to the council meetings to present this in Whitestone and Irvington, or is this coming up?
We have not.
You have not?
I have spoken to Brandon Frazier with Whitestone, and I've spoken to Samantha Van Son in Irvington, and presented it to them.
Okay.
And got to get their feedback on if they think that their business association would support this. And they seemed fairly confident that it was, they could, I don't want to commit them, but they were interested. I mean, it's a win for their communities too, because they're both, I think we're looking for a little bit bigger in Irvington than Whitestone. Whitestone has less retail than Irvington, and Kilmarnock is going to have a big buy-in. So it's like proportionally we're asking for what seems reasonable to each locality. So that's the next step, will be to go to their business associations and make the direct ask.
Good, thank you.
Got it. I want to kind of follow up on Roy's branding question, because that was kind of my start. I think at the last time we talked, there was a conversation about maybe a sticker. I'm now intrigued by the idea of the buck stops here. Is it labeled or branded the buck stops here as well, or just Chesapeake Bank?
No, actually, the marketing materials are branded with, it's the buck stays here.
Buck stays here. Oh, excuse
Yeah,
me.
that's fine.
Oh.
It's, the buck stays here, and then, sponsored by, I mean, our logo's on there, but then all the entities that are contributing money, it has their logo on there too.
Okay.
So it would have, if you chose to fund us, it would have the Lancaster EDA, the Lancaster Chamber, Town of Kilmarnock, and, hopefully the 2 business associations as well.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. And then my next was just an idea, the pop-ups. I didn't know if you were, since they're going to be events, if you wanted to, just a suggestion, invite local businesses to potentially set up and sell stuff there. Some of the craft type folks, this
How I envision it
Yeah.
is more of like the radio station partners with us to do like a live remote. So there'd be a tent branded with the radio station where we're broadcasting live and selling gift cards in a window of time.
Okay.
So there will be an advertisement saying there's gonna be pop-up, this is your chance to support the Boost Local Business, and get involved in this, and then if there are businesses, we can also sign them up to make sure they're on the website.
Got it.
So it'll be an opportunity just to kind of, for 2 hours to sell these gift cards.
Okay.
And I think it'll drive people, and if we do it in each town, how I envision it, because we've done several pop-up remotes where we've, gotten people to come up and, get their, whatever, their swag or whatever. We'll have maybe some material to hand out too, but, and hopefully maybe even create a list of local businesses where they can spend their money.
Sure.
So we could really make it a couple hours of fun and energy and come buy your gift card and, don't forget, these are the businesses that we have in our area.
Sure. I think that's my biggest concern is that the businesses that don't have a brick and mortar presence could be left out. But it sounds like you guys are trying with the Buck Stays Here to promote that as
The whole
well.
Buck Stays Here website, it really is inclusive.
Sure.
I mean, there's no parameters that say you can't be on it if you don't shop if you don't bank
Sure.
with Chesapeake Bank or be part of the chamber. Because believe it or not, there are businesses that are not part of the chamber. So, it's a very inclusive website. It's gonna be a very inclusive event.
Gotcha.
So we really want, the whole goal is to infuse money into the local economy with this great, who wouldn't want a $50 gift card that they pay $25 for,
Yeah.
right? I'm thinking serious dandelion shopping.
And just to note, from our past experience in Williamsburg, word of mouth just took off. The Tide radio station partnered with us as well, and they helped do the remotes, the pop-ups for us. And so what happened was, after the first one, we had a line of people 45 minutes before we started selling. And we were done, we were sold out. And we made sure that we distributed them evenly across the localities, so that we weren't sold out within the first event of all of the cards. So that might happen here,
Gotcha.
especially as small of a town as we are and as much word of mouth there is. We do want to try to limit it so that the wealth is spread to 2 gift cards per household.
Okay.
That is another thing that we're gonna, we did that last year too. We limited in Williamsburg. It was a little bit harder to track, but we're gonna try to put some logistics in place to track that better.
Got it. So that's my last question. So thank you very much. Lisa?
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the Buck Stays Here website now, and it is a really nice, clean website and easy to sort of sort by the area. So I was curious, so you said tracking success, and I think you guys mentioned this in our last meeting. Are you tracking like the actual card number because they have like a credit, like a credit card style number, and that's how you're able to see if they're used and where they're used, or how exactly are you seeing if they're used locally?
Yep, so we work with a vendor for the gift cards, and they have a reporting system that is done by each gift card. So we can tell which cards have been used and which haven't, and we can track where they were used.
Okay.
And for how much.
Oh, that's great. Okay. And along the lines of what you guys were talking about, I almost was envisioning what's on the website in like a book, like a program, if you will, that you could hand out. I don't know if that's sort of like telling people to spend it at these places a little bit more.
Yeah, that's something we've looked into before, like just printing the website, basically. Unfortunately, it doesn't easily translate to a printable format. However, we would like to reach out to we have a list of everyone's email address. And so the plan is to email all the Lancaster County businesses and say, hey, we're doing this. Would you like your name listed with an offer or some sort of enticement to come in, to your shop during this time, so that we can list all those offers for folks and get the businesses to engage as well, because they don't really have to do anything.
Right.
And so if they have that engagement, then that makes it a little bit stronger.
I think Chesapeake Bank is coming behind this with not just money, but a huge branding and a huge marketing campaign that they're totally donating to this event. So it has potential to really they started years ago with the boost, what was it, the Buck Stays Here campaign, and everyone loved that. Everyone loves that tagline. It's great, but I think this has potential to really actually not just encourage, but infuse.
Right. Thank you, ladies.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all you do to boost business in our community, and the Chamber's doing a wonderful job, man.
Thank you.
I, like you, like to shop. I am the shopper of the family, so I'll be liable to be buying one of those cars.
Okay, two.
Absolutely, why not? Yes,
I
yes.
know, right? It's kind of like, wow, that's just like an amazing thing, because even if you know, like I think of it as such a big, broad thing, even if you were looking at NWP for propanes, you know, and, you know, that's just, put it there, you know, we just, everywhere, we just want to really kind of like throw the money, I mean, not throw the money, but really push the money into the community and really help our local businesses, and they have, but they're doing, a lot of them are doing very well post-COVID, but it's not a guarantee. And, you know, there's still, you know, we had a lot of people coming. We want to just still keep them seeing what wonderful retailers we have, what wonderful restaurants we have, and what better incentive than give them a little extra.
Awesome. All right, I think that's it. I appreciate
Thank
both
you.
of you. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
All right, Clay. Mr. Dingledine, it's your turn.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. My name's Clay Dingledine. I'm the owner and captain of Sail and Surf Adventures. First, I want to thank the EDA for the support last year. I was able to replace the inboard diesel engine in my charter boat over the winter, and this year so far I've done over 100 charters with the new engine, and it's been extremely reliable and everything I was hoping for, so big thanks there. I'm here today, as you guys have seen my proposal. Right now, Sail and Surf Adventures is set up as a charter company, so we're doing sunset cruises, afternoon charters, moonlight cruises, things like that. We operate out of Weems on Carter's Creek, sail on the Rappahannock River, and so that's the primary component of the business structure right now. What I'd like to do is add a sailing school component to that, and so the grant request I'm asking for today involves building that infrastructure. So leasing the building, I have a nice little room picked out in the marina, and I've talked to the marina owner at Carter's Cove Marina. That's very well suited as a classroom, so it would involve leasing that classroom. It's on the water, it's steps away from the dock to the boat. There's of course certifications, because I would be setting up the school as an American Sailing Association school, which is a very large organization. They have their own marketing campaign and everything that would help drive business to the school. Yeah, so dues to them, there's a slight increase in insurance premiums to be able to cover people who aren't charter guests to actually drive the boat, because that's part of the instruction. So actually back in May, I went ahead and I got certified through the American Sailing Association to instruct at the basic level, and I've been teaching since then. The nearest certified school is in Deltaville at Norton Yachts, and so I've been commuting over there to teach through them and run those courses for them as an instructor. But in order to teach them here in the Northern Neck and in Lancaster, I need to actually sanction my company as an American Sailing Association school. So similar to how Premier Sailing was set up, they were under U.S. Sailing. The ASA is just the counterpart to them. So it'd essentially be filling that market void left by Premier Sailing. I've also partnered with the Tides End this year, so that they're booking my trips and I'm picking up at their docks. So I'm really looking to capitalize on that opportunity that was left when Arabella closed down. And I've had a lot of interest locally. You know, I have a lot of guests come from Richmond, the DC area, Hampton Roads area. They come, they're interested in learning how to sail, that type of thing. I also have local people who live in Irvington and Whitestone who are interested in taking these courses. And up to this point, I've been referring them out to Deltaville, which is fine, but it's a little bit heartbreaking for me. I'd like to keep the epicenter here, and I'm excited about the opportunity to kind of build that infrastructure in Weems as well, so that people can come and they can learn how to sail, and these are multi-day courses in general. Almost all of them are at least 2 days, so people would be staying, with lodging and food and all that stuff. So that is essentially the ask. Are there any questions from the board?
I'm gonna start with Billy this time.
Actually, I like it. I think it's great what you're trying to achieve here in our county, and kudos. You have my good graces, and look forward to seeing you out there on the river.
Great.
Thank you.
Lisa?
Get my mic on here. Yeah, I think it's great too, that I definitely think there's a need now that Premier is gone, and, that really was our local sailing school. Are you thinking sailing classes for adults only? Would there be a kids component? I know she offered camps.
Yeah, great question. She did have the kids camps. I'm not planning to do kids camps, so it'd be 16 years and older
Okay.
is the age bracket. So yeah, it's mostly adult training, which she also offered, but the kid camp component, I'm not going to engage in that.
You're not ready
Just
for
right now.
that.
That's not quite my passion.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. So, I'm looking over your proposal and kind of the breakdown. I'm wondering, you mentioned insurance premium is gonna go up. You have $4,000 listed here. Is that the difference in what the additional insurance will
No,
cost,
that's
or the
actually my total premium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Do you know the difference off the top of your head?
The difference, and I actually already went and I increased the insurance because the difference was only $500 or so.
Okay,
Yeah. So I
got
went
it.
with the new provider.
Got it. Can you talk a little bit about the business model for that and what you expect it to, I think I saw you're expecting an additional 26,000 a year based on 2 sessions a month. Do you have an idea, in terms of what it's gonna cost per person?
Sure, yeah, exactly. So roughly, there's the ASA has a lot of different, essentially you go up the scale from 101 all the way up to like 118 if you
Okay.
want. And most of those are 2-day sessions, especially in the beginning, a lot of them are 2-day sessions. So the pricing structure I'm working on is $500 per person per day.
Okay.
So a 2-day course would be $1,000 per person.
Okay,
And that's kind of in the range of what I see. Deltaville's the nearest one. We've got another one down in Norfolk, another ASA school. And then the other ones are further up the base, Solomon's Island, places like that. So that's kind of the range of pricing. And yeah, so the way that would work is I would set up a date for a class, and then people could fill in the class. I would have a minimum of 2 people to hold the class, and then a maximum of 4 people to carry out the class.
a maximum of 4 people,
Mhm.
okay. So with that 2 to 4 range, do you have an idea what your margin is on that?
It's difficult to actually hold the class is
Yeah.
quite inexpensive because I have the boat, it's all overhead, right?
Sure.
It's all like insurance, lease, things like that. So to actually hold the class is just my time,
Okay,
which I don't actually pull a salary, so it's just, yeah.
sure.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I think that helps.
Yeah.
Roy, did you have anything?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. You said that you talked to someone about renting a room.
Yes, the owner of the marina where I currently keep the boat.
What's the marina?
Carter's Cove Marina?
At Carter's Cove?
Mhm.
Okay. And I guess you'd have brochures and everything else as
Yeah.
part of your setup.
Absolutely.
So you're teaching this on your boat, right? You won't
Yes.
have any additional cost
So
of,
that's another great
But-
question. I don't have any additional costs in terms of my boat. These classes are also set up to be able to be taught on the owner's boat. So people can book a private class if they want and keep it, they pay an extra $500 just to keep it private. And then I would actually go and teach on their boat. And that's really helpful for people who have just bought a boat and want to learn how to sail. They can book those courses, and then I go out and I teach them on their boat so they know what everything does on their boat. So they have the option to come and do it on my boat, or I can go to them.
it seems to me that if you have 2-day courses, wouldn't they usually be sought on the weekends for people that are coming into town and learning how to sail? And how would that affect your other charter business?
That's a great question. I would try to book as many during the week as I can during the summer, during those 3 months, because those are the busiest times for the weekends, June, July, and August. And then I'm really going to push the instruction side of things and the school side of things into the shoulder seasons as much as I can, because I think it's a really great, we have less tourists coming to the area during that time. So I see a lot of my charter bookings, are in those 3 months. And if I can kind of round out my work year by pushing things into the shoulder and get people to come to visit the area, because sailing in the fall and the spring around here is actually better than the summer. It tends to be less wind and less hot and things like that. So it'll be a balance, I have I do have gaps to fill in between my charters, and I'm hoping that the school component will be able to fill those gaps. So there will be a little competition there, and I'll just have to find out the balance,
Scheduling issue.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And, no one's asked the question, but am I looking at hiring more captains or more instructors? And in the immediate future, no. Probably next year, no. But it's potentially on the radar, and that would help mitigate those scheduling issues, especially if, the classes are on other people's boats. Then I can hire out an instructor to go teach that, and I can still be running charters on my boat. Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa asked a good question about the youth and everything. Is there anybody that you know that's going to be taking up Arabella's place doing something like that?
No.
Because that's really
It's
needed, I
It's
think.
a great opportunity for someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Thank you so much for your
Yeah,
I do have
time.
I have a
Yeah.
follow-up question. I'm wondering, how many requests have you already fielded for this kind of training? I'm trying to understand the demand for it.
Oh, sure. How many requests? I'd say somewhere between 5 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah. That's like serious requests who have actually, sent over to Norton's. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's great. That would be really interesting. I'd like to do that. I don't really consider that as a request.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure,
And
perfect.
the ASA is a really solid organization in terms of their marketing. They do a really good job. So I'm hoping that they will also help drive things. And I just read in the newspaper, there's a grant for marketing for off-season type stuff, and that kind of goes to Roy's question about the shoulder seasons. I'm going to also apply for that grant to be able to market specifically for the sailing school for the deep shoulder seasons. I'm talking like October, November, March, to be able to hold these classes and be able to market them and bring people in from the cities.
There is an additional grant program that I saw open up recently for kind of experiential stuff in the, so I will try and remember to share that after this meeting, because I
I'll
don't think
reach
it's
out.
limited to the shoulder season.
Okay,
Please reach
great.
out, because I may forget.
Yeah.
But, perfect, sounds good. I
Awesome.
think that's all we have for you then.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Awesome, all right.
Could I ask Don a question? Related to a couple of these. We had talked about, is it over Weems or is it over somewhere else that we were talking about having water access and possibly a rental for?
The county has actually closed on 5 acres adjacent to Carter Cove Marina where he has his boat located.
Where is that at?
Johns Neck Road in Weems, turn right on Carter Cove Drive.
Oh, I know
And
where the cove is, but the land that the county has.
It's, it's
Is
on,
it adjacent to it towards Irvington?
it's,
Nice
well,
property?
on the Irvington side of Carter Cove Marina is Kellum Seafood, so we're on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So is there an opportunity, we were talking, I know, in our other
Yes.
board, about possibly having someone doing paddle boards and kayaks and everything
Yeah.
over there and possibly putting in.
It's possible for those folks to lease space on the county property. We're in the process of selecting an engineering and architectural firm as needed. So they would have to be engaged to, help with the infrastructure on site. And then there's the legal questions about, all the the insurance and everything else that's legal that goes with that. So, but there is that possibility, very real possibility, and it will probably come to fruition.
Good.
That's exciting.
For the future, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna keep I have an community update section. I'm gonna try and keep it short to make up time. Essentially, Chamber of Commerce, currently, I don't know, Ann was just here, but I'm not sure if everybody's aware, Ann is leaving the chamber, here on the Northern Neck in Lancaster, taking another opportunity, but they've recently hired somebody else, that will be announced on Monday. So, local person, which is very exciting, but, that's the big news there. I have actually something for Dawn and Glenn potentially. I have been speaking with Ian Ginger, who's the new executive director for Go Virginia Region 6, and he wanted to ask about, they are putting together a program, I'm trying to get this right, where they're working with a cybersecurity company to try and bring instruction into the school systems, to try and make it a part of the curriculums in the area, and create that kind of local pathway. So I think it's primarily just the school systems at this point, but with Dan, I'm not sure what's going on with Dan or who to reach out to at this point to connect him with, so.
It would be, the acting superintendent is Jessica Davis.
Okay,
They've actually advertised for that superintendent position, and
got it.
so, I don't know who will fill that position long-term, but currently it's Jessica Davis. So that would be the contact, because we have no control over school curriculum.
Sure.
Do you know anything about that, Glenn?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Another resource, obviously, the IT person down is Kevin Bean.
Yeah,
He might be,
very true, yeah. The school's IT person is Kevin Bean, so that he might be the
Okay.
most appropriate, so.
I may be reaching out for contact info if I can't find it
Okay.
readily.
All right.
Perfect,
Appreciate
so
that.
that is going on. I think the most recent update from the town of Kilmarnock, sorry, I have a little bit of a migraine setting in, so it's making it hard for me to think straight. The town of Kilmarnock, I recently went to, they had a Drive 2.0 working session. Drive 2.0 is I think a grant program that is really looking at helping local municipalities with driving people into the community. So they were looking at doing a survey of the local community as to what exists now, and then what would be great to see moving forward. So I am looking forward to hearing back from Sharon Phillips on kind of the outcome of that, but that's happened recently. Does anybody else kind of have anything that they've been a part of in terms of the community that they want to share? No? Okay, perfect. Then that puts us back on schedule. Dawn, do you have anything to share in terms of county
We
updates?
had, I just mentioned that we're in the process of selecting architectural and engineering firms. We are setting up interviews for 3 respondents in each category currently. I've also have the Assistant County Administrator / Economic Development Director position advertised. I'm closing that on August the 15th. So probably when you all meet again in October, I'll have someone sitting beside me to eventually take my position here, so. And that,
You scared me for a second.
there's a lot going on in the county, a lot with public access. We mentioned the county's closed on the Carter Cove site. We are having plans prepared for shoreline restoration and beach expansion at Windmill Point. We're in the process of having plans drawn for the development of the Taylor Creek Park, which is on the eastern branch of the Currituman, also in Weems. We've got a JPA permit approved through VMRC to redo and expand the fishing pier, or the courtesy pier at the Greenville Creek Boat Landing, expanding it with a fishing pier extension. So it's a lot of things going on in the county right now. It's a lot to keep up with.
Sure.
Well, Don, can I ask you, or ask anybody here, I've seen so much work going on on Route 3, especially down near Whitestone, and going out there putting, I guess, fiber optic. Is that the Dominion project?
That
or
is a Dominion project. Dominion is installing the middle mile right now. They've got 3 separate crews in the county. Mastech at this end, I think Team Fishel at the lower end, and I think Penline is working as well. They're stringing fiber like crazy. And APB, All Points Broadband, will soon follow and be putting in the last mile. So the broadband connectivity to all unserved homes in Lancaster County is on track to be completed by December of 2023.
That's
So
wonderful.
exciting.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be one of the few rural counties in the country that have access to 98% of our population?
The northern neck, the entire northern neck will be, yes.
Wow, that's fabulous.
Yep.
Excellent. Now,
Yeah.
Dominion is working with who?
It's All Points Broadband.
All Points
All
Broadband.
Points
Okay.
Broadband, yes. And our Broadband Authority has secured separate Virginia Telecommunications Initiative grants with BreezeLine as their partner. So in areas of the county where BreezeLine serve, they are expanding their service through those VATI grants. So, you know, the Broadband Authority had said that with all of these programs that are in place, there were 84 homes that somehow fell through the cracks, but they're working to make sure that none will fall through the cracks. And it seems like All Points Broadband and BreezeLine are going to pick up those 84. So everybody will have it. Now, that doesn't include the new construction that will occur in the future, but the infrastructure will be there. So all they have to do is pay to run a line to their home.
That's so
Excellent.
exciting. As far as the VATI grants go with BreezeLine, are they talking about running fiber to the home when it's currently served? In, like, for example, certain neighborhoods that already have it that are rural, in more rural areas, not the towns? townships?
I don't believe that's through the VATI grant. That
Okay.
would be, the VATI grant is mainly to expand to areas that BreezeLine already are located in, but they haven't
Gotcha.
gotten that far out to some homes. So that's what the VATI grant is for. But BreezeLine is doing a lot of expansion outside the VATI grant on their own. So I know down in the Manasquan area, they're expanding, down, not on your side where you all are, but on the Manasquan side, they've been putting, they've been expanding a lot down there on their own. So, it's a lot going on in the county right now, particularly with all the road work too. I mean,
Sure.
it's busy.
And then the All Points Broadband current initiative, I know that they were talking about, there was the project that came out of the CARES grant funding where they were supposed to be creating service for up to 300 homes.
Yeah.
I don't know, where does that stand?
It emanates from the cell tower. That's where all the equipment is located on, behind the sheriff's office. And it goes out for a 5-mile radius. And the company whose office is in Kilmarnock, it's called Broadband Telecom Services, they purchased the old Signal Wave as well. They've upgraded all of that equipment, and they're able to bounce that signal for greater distances than just the 5 miles. But the original CARES Act they were supposed to hook up 300 customers, and the last I heard, they were at like 242.
Okay.
So they've done a good job with that over the last year. It was a little slow getting started, but, and like I said, they purchased Signal Wave and upgraded all of that equipment. So, and The other CARES Act broadband project the county had, which the Broadband Authority has assumed, is the 8 smart pole locations throughout the county. They would provide free Wi-Fi if you were within, I think, 600 feet of that pole. They initially ran off of SIM cards, off of cell towers. That service was not very good at the beginning, so now Broadband Telecom Services has converted these poles over to their fixed wireless system, and it's working much better. Now, they've had a couple of lightning strikes on a couple of different poles, so it's some ongoing things there. But we've got one pole over here in the new courthouse parking lot that's used quite a bit. We've actually got a pole at the Greenbelt Creek boat ramp. And it was tough to get a signal there, cell signal there, but with the fixed wireless, they've been able to bounce the signal all around and bring a signal there. So, and then there's one at Currituck Baptist Church at this end of the county. We've got one at the YMCA building, one at the Boys and Girls Club, one at the Kilmarnock parking lot behind the, off of that street where the fire was. I can't remember. I was trying to think of the service station there. I wanted to say Shell Station, but I don't think it's Shell. And then I think that's it. I think that's all 8.
I think Nutsville. Did it?
Oh, yeah,
the
Nutsville dump. That's right,
That
yeah.
is-
Yeah, we've got one there as well.
Makes me feel good to know it's there. If I ever break down, I can walk to the dump to
Yeah.
get a cell service to call
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
So it didn't happen at Beulah Baptist?
It's at Beulah,
Oh,
and
it was
that's
at
one too.
Beulah
yeah.
Baptist? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because
And
those
that's all
areas,
8, yeah.
have
Yeah.
signal issues, so it's nice to know that you can always make a phone call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Out in those areas. Okay. And then I just saw, I didn't realize the job had been advertised, but I see it on VACO now. The Virginia Association of County, I don't remember the whole acronym, but it's for
That's it.
county employment.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Virginia Association of Counties. That's
Oh, perfect. Is that gonna go on the Lancaster website, so it's easy to send it to?
Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't given it to Glenn yet, but
Gotcha.
we'll get that on.
Okay. But it's really exciting to see that's up there. I mean, reality is that's probably the best place to find people.
I've actually gotten 2 applications already.
That's fantastic. Awesome. All right. Roy, I just wanted to ask, I haven't seen, I've recently talked to Paul Shakatano about joining the workforce development aspect of Lancaster 2035, but do you have any updates on the Greater Initiative for us that you can share?
Well, at our last meeting, we're not going to have a meeting in August. We're regrouping and trying to get our committees to present everything for September, and then we're going to go to the Board of Supervisors, we hope by, do we say November or October or November
Well, I think
with it?
I think Paul wants to go in September to talk about that recreational coordinator position.
The recreational, yeah.
That the committee has suggested that the county need to help coordinate recreational activities with the school, the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, and I may have missed someone, but because it seems like we have entities out there that provide recreational activities, but, no one crosses lines, the YMCA doesn't want to duplicate what the Boys and Girls Club is doing and vice versa, and, the schools has a lot of the facilities, so you need someone to coordinate between all of them, so, that's one of the things that the committee has suggested that the board needs. I know Paul wants to come in September for that, but
For that one, yeah.
overall, I don't.
Yeah, and Jimmy Carter gave an update, affordable workforce housing is one of the big initiatives. And right now, workforce housing is tough. Developers aren't coming in to build that kind of infrastructure right now. It's not like a build it and they will come. And to get it into the price points and everything, there just aren't a lot of contractors that are interested unless they can get a certain number of units on board. And that's tough all over the country right now, but it's especially tough when we have a declining population. It's a risk factor, and also with interest rates going up and cost of materials and everything else, it's one of the toughest things that we have to tackle. And we're not exactly sure right now going forward how we're going to do that. We're going to try to promote it. We've talked to different developers. Jimmy's worked really, really hard on that. And right now, we're just at an impasse. We just can't see how that's going to happen right away. As far as, well, recreational also, we were talking about water access and everything, and the county just closed, and we're looking at getting more water access. And let's see, I don't have my notes from the last meeting here. This is my EDA meetings. Let's see, we were talking about the Airbnb rentals were impacting housing. You know, we talked about, well, like the Grace Hill project, there are lots of lots in there, and they still are not being developed right now. We had mentioned trade school for building and architecture, carpentry, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical and everything, and there are 20 different contractors that are on board for trying to get possibly having a trade show for different, you know, for different vocations.
Awesome. All right, well, I think that's it for this. I guess it's time to move on to the approval of the 2021, the April minutes, I should say. However, I just got a chance to look at them, and I don't think it's enough format. I think we probably need to talk about what the minutes look like, because that is essentially, now I understand why it was so intense. That's a transcription of the meeting, and I think typically minutes are more of a quick summary.
So I did that for our last meeting, our first meeting.
Okay.
I felt like it didn't capture, I looked back at the old notes that I think Crystal was doing, and she was really capturing detailed. So I felt like the first month I was here really didn't capture that level. So that is something I'd like some guidance on, because it takes a long time to transcribe it. I don't know if you guys want just topics captured versus just, or maybe like actual things discussed.
I think topics, I would actually like your guidance on this before I speak to what the county wants.
I think a word-for-word transcription is not needed. No, just a summary and capture the votes is all that's really needed.
Summary of like topics though, or decisions?
Summary of the topics, and the decision is just, the vote, capturing the vote, and that's basically it.
Because I think ultimately, when Crystal was doing this, we didn't have the recordings of all of the meetings, so if somebody wants that level of detail.
Yeah.
So that's what I wasn't sure if people, we were assuming someone would be watching the video if they wanted to hear the detail, or we were writing it if they weren't or couldn't watch the video, and they really wanted to capture what we were.
Yeah, no, it can just be a basic summary and just capture the votes.
Yeah, what you did, the meeting, from the minutes from the last meeting was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
You answered all the questions.
Because if somebody wants detail, they can go back and watch it.
Yeah.
So that's
I did it. I did exactly what you said was gonna happen.
That's why
Okay,
Glenn
so-
likes, that's why he likes for the green light to stay on all the
The
time.
green light is on.
So guidance done, should we
Okay.
approve these in this format, or should we
To be honest with you, I haven't even looked at them yet.
a transcription?
It was a transcription?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they're just minutes. If you're satisfied with them, you can approve that. And next month it can go back to the summary. It doesn't, it's up to
wouldn't
you,
be hard
really.
to make a summary
It would be,
either.
you're gonna create more work
Right.
for Lisa if you don't approve these.
Right.
I would say approve these, and then, next month, her job will be easier. She can just do a summary, and. so,
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I don't want to create extra work either.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, I haven't had time to read these, and I'm concerned that other folks haven't either, because it was sent as a pages document.
Oh, it was? It should have been a document.
Yeah, so
Oh, I'll resend.
that's my other concern is.
What's that?
It was sent in a format that folks who don't have Macs couldn't read.
Sorry,
So I'm not sure.
I thought it was a Word doc.
No, it's a pages doc.
Okay.
So that's my other concern is that,
Well, you can table it until your October meeting.
okay,
if you
let's
want.
do that.
Okay.
Because I don't, yeah, folks can't actually vote on what they haven't seen.
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion to table the minutes till our next meeting.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Just slipping right back in. Thanks, Roy. All right. All right, then
Moving
let's move
forward.
on to the financial status report. Don, do you mind?
I sent y'all out the balances about a week ago, and then I sent the formal report on Tuesday. You can see that in the basic checking account, you've got a balance of $18,096.14. Some money expected through the administrative fees starting in October. So if you all were to approve all of the grants that were requested today, you would need to transfer some money from the CD, which is, possible. That's up to you. There are some restrictions on the withdrawals from that CD. I think I get one penalty-free withdrawal per year, which would be fine because you'll have administrative fee income coming in starting in October. And you won't have any grant requests at your October meeting. You won't have any more until January. So, and the CD has a balance of $65,631.84. So it's really up to you all, and you'll discuss the grants in a closed meeting. But that's it.
Okay. I think the only question I have on this front is trying to understand, because we will have, to your point, grants again in January, so what our balance would be in January then as well, from what comes in.
Well, I think you could add that 25,000 to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that 25,000 is an estimate. It's not exact because the fees are based on 1/8 of 1% of the outstanding
Sure.
balance of the when it's paid.
Gotcha.
So,
So essentially, though, we'll have $25,000 for fiscal year
you'll have
2023.
you should have $25,000 additional in the basic checking account by your January meeting.
Okay, but that would last us for all of the fiscal year.
That would, well, yeah, I mean, depending on how many grant requests come in January.
Right.
I mean,
Certainly.
Okay.
so, but you'll have an additional 25,000 in January.
That is their total income for this year, though.
That is,
25 now.
that is the total amount of administrative fees collected currently.
Okay.
Okay.
One dropped off last year, or
Right.
I can't remember now what that was, but
Okay.
that was less than $5,000, because it used to be close to 30,000 per year.
Okay, great.
And, I mean, we've talked about the bond issuances in the past, and there's very few attorneys in the state who do bond work, and Sands Anderson is the premier law firm that does those, and Dan Siegel is probably the premier attorney in the state that handles those, and he in the past, he's looked out for us. I mean, we have a good working relationship with him, so if he sees something that he thinks is a fit for us, he brings it to us, so.
Okay, great. Wonderful. All right, so we don't have to vote on the approval of the financial status report?
No,
it's
that's just
okay.
information.
Wonderful. Then I am going to move us on and make the motion to move into closed session. So I move that the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority enter into closed meeting for grant requests per section 2.2-3711.A.6 of the Code of Virginia, 1950, as amended, for the specific discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, and where, if made public, the financial interests of the governmental unit would be adversely affected.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Glenn,
let us know
did
when
we
you're-
have- You can sit there and go, why am I working for $30 an hour when he's charging out $85
Right.
an hour or something? I can do this on my own.
And that was the,
If it's an entrepreneur spirit.
yeah.
But
The
I mean,
concern
That's a
I
tough
had with
one.
the business model, it sounded like he was just poaching employees from the local marinas and not actually working in tandem with them. So
That's
Mike,
why I
let's
asked if
also
they were
give him that
independent
feedback.
contractors.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I move that the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority adopt the following. Whereas the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority convened in a closed meeting on July 28th, 2022, pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote on the motion to close the meeting to discuss grant proposals in accordance with Section 2.2-3711.A.6 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the EDA that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lancaster County Economic Development Authority hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, number one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting to which this certification applies. Number two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed as considered in the meeting to which the certification applies. Before a vote is taken on this resolution, is there any member who believes that there was a departure from the requirements of number one and number two? And if so, identify yourself and state the substance of the matter and why, in your judgment, it was a departure. All right. Hearing no such statement, I call the question. Mr. Carter, do you vote in favor of this resolution?
Yes.
Mrs. Bryce Rowland, I so vote in favor. Mrs. McLaughlin,
I do.
Mr. Barrick,
Yes.
all in favor. This certification resolution is adopted. I could not see by the end of that. All right, so let's go ahead and vote then on these requests. Does anybody have a motion for windmill water sports grant request?
So I make a motion that we give Windmill Water Sports $7,000.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Passed.
do we have a motion for Teal Marine Services on their grant request?
I motion to table this until our next, upon further clarification
Okay,
from the grant requester.
so and we'll provide feedback.
Second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. For the Lancaster by the Bay Chamber grant request, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. We give the Lancaster by the Bay $5,000.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Do I have a motion for Sail and Surf Adventures grant request?
I motion to give this grant request $2,000 specifically for their,
Yeah.
for their American Sailing Association certification.
Fantastic. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so that brings us to the end of our grant requests. Quickly, I will just share that for our next meeting, the plan is to have a strategic planning session, ideally in tandem with our new economic development director, to discuss the direction of the EDA as it relates to, I think specifically, Lancaster 2035's future initiatives and how we play into that, and then what we hope to do in the future. I would also like to speak at that meeting so everybody's aware to kind of our engagement, what our plans are for participation with the EDA between meetings, just kind of level set. And then also, I think I'm gonna try to have Ian Ginger with Go Virginia speak at that meeting. I may have one or two other speakers that kind of speak to successful EDA ventures throughout the state of Virginia, if possible. So that is the goal for that meeting. Does anybody else have anything that they think might be helpful during that meeting? in that vein? Any ideas? No? Okay, great.
Plenty to talk about there.
Any other business before we move on?
Anybody have any conflicts with October 20th at 8:30?
No, I will be back in the country then.
We'll have a conflict after
You
that.
always,
We'll see.
okay.
Okay.
Do we,
Times may change.
do we want to put that on in the notes and then make sure we have enough?
Yeah,
Oh, we're not voting on anything, though. So we
No.
don't
Well, if
necessarily-
Teal Marine comes back in October, you may vote on that one.
Oh, we could vote in that session.
I
So
think
we
it's
can-
still,
Yeah, you can
Because
vote
it was
on, yeah,
tabled,
because
okay.
you're
Yeah.
tabling it. I mean,
right.
you considered it at your July meeting. You did that in the past for one of them, I can't remember now.
Yeah,
Yeah. that
I
was
think it
for-
was Sail and Surf, actually,
I think it was.
yeah.
I think moving forward, though, it's probably best, we all know that the meetings are supposed to be the third week of the year.
The third
Or the third
Thursday.
week of the quarter.
Yeah.
Just to stick to that, because people can plan in advance around it.
And this
Yeah.
room is
Yeah.
used a lot,
Yeah.
so that's why, and you just can't change a date like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was,
Well, it's no concern, but if there's a district meeting of mine, which normally happens along that time, and we're starting to go back